Germany now, and the Conservatives are celebrating winning the country's election. The results also saw large gains for the far-right party, Alternative for Germany, or AfD. Let's go live to my colleague Sumi Samaskanda, who is in Berlin. Good morning, Sumi.
Good morning, Nikki. It's been a pretty short night here, as you can imagine, for Germany's political parties after this consequential election. And there was, of course, vote counting still taking place late into the night. And there were some important developments overnight as well that we should say. You know, a lot of our viewers will not be familiar with the smaller parties here in Germany, but there was one, the BSW, which is a pro-Russia party, where there was vote counting happening into the night. And at the end, they did not make it into parliament. And the reason that matters is it means that the Christian Democrats, led by Friedrich Merz, who came out the biggest party, and the Social Democrats, Chancellor Olaf Scholz's party, now do have a big enough majority to form a coalition. So that is for them, of course, a bit of good news because they wanted to, or Friedrich Merz wanted to form a two-party coalition. But the work still lies ahead. We have heard from German leaders on the morning talk shows here saying that they are holding talks with their own party, with the party leadership today. We're seeing the Social Democrats giving a press conference this afternoon, so we can hear a bit more from them about what they expect from possible coalition talks. The other big story is, of course, the far-right AfD. They've been holding a news conference. I think we have some live pictures of that we can show as well. They have again been victorious this morning on the morning talk shows here in Germany, saying that their result after the late night vote counting got them above 20%, again, a doubling of their previous election result. They say that is proof that German voters don't see them as extremists, as fascists, but rather as a party that is tackling the issues that voters want to see tackled, namely migration first and foremost, and then the economy. But if we come back to the Christian Democrats and Chancellor, or the soon-to-be likely Chancellor Friedrich Merz, he's expected to become the country's next chancellor again, having won the biggest share of the vote. And he's called for a coalition government to be formed very quickly. The reason for that, we know, of course, is because of the war in Ukraine. It's 3-year anniversary today, of course. And Chancellor Merz, a big supporter of Ukraine. And he said his top priority will be supporting unity in Europe, which he said is needed to achieve independence from the United States. Really strong words there from Friedrich Merz. Let's take a look at the preliminary results now. Friedrich Merz's Conservatives, you see in black here, they were ahead of rival parties, but just below 30% of the vote share that they had expected. We mentioned, of course, the other winner, the far-right Alternative for Germany, celebrating that second-place result of 20.8%. And then the Social Democrats, led by the current Chancellor Olaf Scholz, you see here in red, they got their worst result ever with 16.4%. That's a drop of about 9 percentage points from the last election. And this is really interesting. If you look at a map of where these votes were distributed, you can see that in the former east of Germany, the AfD, this blue color, really dominated that entire region. The west overwhelmingly went for the CDU, you see in black on the map. So really interesting voting patterns. Now, over in the US, President Trump welcomed the CDU's victory, saying it was proof that Germans were like Americans, tired of the, quote, no common sense agenda, especially on energy and immigration. So those are the results that we've been looking at. Our Berlin correspondent, Jessica Parker, has more on how the night unfolded.
The man now set to lead Germany. The centre-right politician told his supporters that he understood the enormity of the task now before him. Meanwhile, flags were waving at the AfD election base. The far-right party came second, its best ever result. They won't get into government, as other parties won't work with them. But they say they're on the road to power.
Here at the election night HQ of the centre-right CDU party, the beer is flowing, so is the German sparkling wine. But activists I've been speaking to say they are a bit disappointed about the result. They'd hoped to do a little better. Nevertheless, this is the party that is in pole position to form the next government. What priorities does the next German government have to deliver on?
Well, I think the most important thing is migration, then economics, but also internationally, we have to figure out the situation with Ukraine, especially now with Donald Trump in the government.
And on American relations, Friedrich Merz gave this stark assessment.
After Trump's statements last week, it is absolutely clear that this US government doesn't care about Europe.
For now, though, it's time to build bridges at home. Pulling together a governing coalition in Germany, never an easy task. Jessica Parker, BBC News in Berlin.
Well, as we've been hearing, Friedrich Merz, the leader of the Christian Democrats, again, the likely next chancellor, has been talking also about the urgency of needing to form a government as quickly as possible. And in fact, some of the parties who will be in the opposition, the Greens, for example, agree that Germany must have a government in place very soon. The reason for that, of course, Europe needing leadership on issues like the war in Ukraine, also the relationship with the U.S. And I just want to, again, highlight what we heard from Friedrich Merz on the U.S. He said, I have no illusions about what is happening in America. Intervention from Washington, and by intervention, he's talking about, for example, Elon Musk hosting an event with Alice Weidel, the head of the far right, on Twitter. He said that was not any less brazen and drastic than what comes out of Moscow. So an extremely strong message there, and also a message to the Europeans. He said his government will ensure that Europe can achieve full strategic independence from the U.S. in its defense against Russia. So clearly a call to his European partners, also in the UK, looking to the war in Ukraine and how to build consensus around defense against Russian aggression. Really interesting moment here in Germany, one that will be watched, of course, across Europe and also in the US.